An automobile policy is usually the first insurance policy a person gets. It is a sign of maturity and independence. When a child turns 16, the kid is excited, and the parent is worried. For the kid, they're like, free! Finally, I'm free! And the parents are like, where are you going? Who's going with you, and when will you be back? Well, not to mention the price of insurance for a 16-year-old, especially a boy. Then the conversation is more like, hey kid, if you want to drive, you need a job. Automobile insurance is often perceived as an expensive inconvenience. You get tickets for not having a verification form, a fine for the lack of a piece of paper. The cost of the ticket for no insurance is high, but the related consequences are worse. The least impactful consequence is traffic related. Yes, it's true. The insurance companies notify the DMV on a regular basis as to which VIN numbers have insurance and which ones don't. If they find you are not covered, they'll suspend your registration. That means that all the vehicles that you own will have invalid tags. If the situation isn't rectified quickly, your license is suspended, which can make it very difficult to get or even keep insurance. It can be a vicious cycle. These are expensive inconveniences, but not like the financial and the legal liability of not having insurance. In California, for example, the minimum limit for bodily injury liability is $15,000 to $30,000. This means that in the event of an accident in which you are legally found to be at fault, where there are physical injuries, the insurance company will pay up to $15,000 for one person. If you've been to the doctor lately, you know that that's not very much. But it won't pay more than $30,000 for the entire accident. What if it's a bad one? What if the accident is between you and a van load of daycare kids? What if one or more kids are not properly restrained when you strike that vehicle? What if? How far will $30,000 get you to cover their medical expenses? Not very far. In the same state, the minimum requirement for property damage coverage liability is $10,000. How many brand new cars are on the road? How many brand new cars do you think are on the road? How many of them cost $10,000 or less? More like zero. Something to think about when you're weighing your options as to what it's worth paying for. An extra $10 a month, or a lawsuit for the remainder of the actual cash value of that 2014 Mercedes that's stolen. Not having adequate insurance can be very inconvenient expense, especially in the event of a 16-year-old kid, or a 17-year-old kid, or a 20-year-old kid. Let's face it, teenagers are often stupid. They think they know everything, and they're fearless. So the average 16-year-old, freshly licensed driver will never consider that driving too fast and getting in an accident could cost you your house, their home. It could cost you your future earnings and their college fund. Your retirement's all gone. One mistake. One stupid mistake can take everything you have ever worked for, and with the right circumstances and the right judge, a good portion of what you'll earn in the future can also be gone. That is why when I add a kid to a policy, I always say, we need to talk about your limits. Because most people carry low limits. Well, you get a 16-year-old kid on a policy, you need a $500,000 limit, because kids make $1 million mistakes. Just think, the terrible thing happens and a claim is filed. If you have $500,000 on your auto insurance and liability, and you get an umbrella policy that gives you an extra $2 million, the chances of them coming to take your house goes from this big to this big. I always offer umbrellas, especially if they have auto and home, because it keeps your house, and it keeps your cars, and it keeps your money and your retirement. This isn't just advice for you adults, but for you teenagers as well. Think about the responsibility of having your license, and how your parents go out on a limb, putting their whole life at risk to give you this little privilege. Please don't take it for granted. Please respect it. And parents, please take a look at your policies. Make sure that you're considering the fact that your kid might be the kid that texts while he drives, or drinks at a party and then drives home with his friends. Talk to your agent. He is your ally. Be covered and avoid these inconvenient expenses, and remember, accidents happen. No one means to have an accident. That's why they're called accidents.
Turtle clock.
I'm surprised you didn't like that stuffed animal.